All right, so it's cold outside, it's wet. A lot of the snow is melting and it's foggy. I think maybe you could see out of my living room window right there. Um, so I am in the mood to do some cooking. So what I'm going to share with you today is a recipe that kind of piqued my interest. I was craving it a little bit. I'm going to make a dish of pork loin medallions with some homemade applesauce. Actually, homemade pear and applesauce. The medallions are going to be pan-seared, and I'm just going to put a little bit of spice on both sides, and then when I take them out of the pan, I'm going to deglaze the pan with the flavors of the meat, and I'm going to make a little sauce with some, I don't know, white wine, apple cider vinegar, so it'll be a nice maritage. Apple cider vinegar and then the apple sauce on top. So anyway, let's get going. So I just want to show you here, I already have my applesauce and pear. My apple pear sauce has already been cooking. See all that steam coming up? And what did I do? All I did was take some organic, obviously, pears and apples. I used Bosc pears that were a little overripe. I didn't want to toss them because I was going to use them for another recipe, but I threw them in here. And I threw in diced Fuji apples. It's really easy. You don't have to get real technical. You just dice them up. I don't even peel them. I like to keep the skin on because I believe the skin has a lot of nutrition. So, you know, that's why they're organic, because you're going to eat the skin if you like it. So you can see those. And then I just threw them in that pot, a saucepan, with probably about a half a cup of clean, pure water and some organic cinnamon, maybe about I don't know, quarter of a teaspoon of organic cinnamon. And then I added about a half a teaspoon of raw organic honey, just to kind of sweeten it up a little bit. So that's my applesauce. It's been cooking, and I'm gonna actually kind of check it here. And it's cooking down. It's been cooking for about 20 minutes on low. So they're softening up. Okay, so that's what we want. Want them to soften up and absorb the water and the cinnamon flavor. So we'll just let those sit. So let me bring the camera over here and angle it down. Okay, maybe this way. The lighting is bad in the kitchen. It's the evening, and whenever I cook in the evening, the lighting is challenging. So let me see what I can do here. All right. Oh, you can imagine this is not for vegans. So if you didn't figure that out, now's your chance. Bye, vegans. We'll meet again next time. Anyway, so let me, all I'm going to do is, first of all, let me show you this. I already have my hot pan on low. And as you can see here, it's got some oil in there. So I'm keeping it on low, so it's nice and hot. So you want to put the pan on medium high. And the other thing is, as I angle the camera down here, one of the things I want to share is I rarely ever eat pork. Used to eat it a hell of a lot more. And I don't know, maybe just innately my body tells me no. It's tasty. Every once in a while, yes, I will have some bacon. But if I'm going to eat it, it's got to be pasture raised. And I know my ranchers, because pork can be really iffy. If you don't cook it well, between 145 and 160 with a little meat thermometer, kind of like one of these doodads, right? You poke it in there and you check the temperature. I think I have a smaller one. Oh, I have another one. I have a couple of them. But funny thing, I don't even use them anymore. But you want to make sure it's cooked between 145 and 160. I have my own method of testing the meat, and talk about that later. But anyway, so I'm just gonna make some pork medallions, and I'm gonna saute them in the pan, and I'm looking for something here. Sorry. But anyway, I'll figure it out. No big deal. So let's get back to the meat. So, what do? First thing, I cut them in slices. So, back this up a little bit here. Maybe right about there. So I'm going to cut them in slices carefully. Medallions. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. And of course you want to be careful with the fingers, so you want to, you know, use, make like a little, kind of like a square shape, not like this because you'll chop them up. So you could chop them up. So you want to make sure you get your knuckles out of the way, and lean the blade against your knuckles, not the knife edge, obviously. But some people don't know. So anyway, carefully cutting those into medallions, and then I'm going to put them all out on the cutting board like this. This is going to cook up really fast, so that's good. And that comes out to, well, if you want to count the smaller ends, which you really don't want to count those, although I will eat them. That's about, let's see, let's say pretty small ones here. 14 pieces or so. So there we have it. So I just sliced them. They're probably about an inch thick right now, but for the sake of cooking them evenly, you want to kind of mush them down a little bit. So you just use your fingers, or you could use your knuckles. I like my fingers. It feels more controlled. And what you're doing, you're just smushing them down a little bit so they're not so thick. So when you cook them, they will cook evenly. I think you can see me smushing them down with my fingers here. Okay. So let's put the camera back there. This piece is pretty small. Scoot that guy over. Those will cook really quickly. And the other thing is too, is whenever I eat animal protein, specifically like lamb, bison, beef, and it's kind of rare, but whenever I do, I like my meat rare, like walk it past the stove. In a case with pork, you don't want to eat it rare. Hell no, because there could be a lot of bacteria. That's why you want to make sure you know where your pork's coming from, preferably a rancher like Diamond Mountain Ranch, Rainbow Ranch Farms, Sage Mountain out here in Anza. Okay, so there we have it. See those? Okay, so now I'm going to get my spices that I already blended. All it is cracked pepper, ground salt, and a little bit of fine herbs, organic fine herbs, which is parsley, chives, and tarragon. Okay, you can do a little rosemary, but so all I'm going to do is just sprinkle a little bit of these herbs on them. Okay, so, and not a whole lot. Get the ones over here on the side. Sprinkle them there, maybe a little bit here. And then I'm just going to rub them in just gently. This needs a little more. As I have some beautiful classical music on. Reminds me of the days when I used to go to the opera with my ex-husband, or the symphony. Oh my God, it was just so beautiful listening to this music and the atmosphere of the symphony hall when the music is amplified, and just so beautiful. It was so relaxing. I thought I was going to put on some classical music for my background music. And I rarely put on background music when I'm cooking, but I don't know, my auditory senses were desiring it. So you have some great classical music on in the background.
I don't know if you can hear it. I certainly can. But anyway, there. So I just threw all that. And then just kind of rub it in a little bit, right? You can see that, yeah? Even if the lighting is kind of bad. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle the camera. And then I'm going to take my meat, my pork loin medallions. See my pork loin medallions? Pork loin medallions. There. Okay, so angle the camera here and gently I'm going to place them in the pan away from me. Remember, you want to spot yourself, so away. Just placing them gently away. Oh, you're probably curious. I added, my oil of choice is duck fat. I just thought it was going to be a very nice flavor. You can use ghee, even grapeseed oil. Turn that, toss the oil a little bit so I can add some more. You can use grapeseed oil, ghee, coconut oil, and other animal fat. You don't want the meat to touch, because if it touches the other part of the meat, it's gonna kind of steam it, and so you want to just kind of not have them touch. I don't have room for the other ones, but that's okay. I'll add them later. I'll cook them later. I'll put them over off to the side for now. But anyway, so there they are. So while those are cooking, and they're basically on medium heat, I'm gonna go wash my hands. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna move them over a little bit, because I do want to add those other pieces so I can cook them all in the pan. So make some room. I'm just gonna kind of scoot them over a bit. And then add that here. You can use your fingers too. You've got some experience in the kitchen. Don't be shy. Like I said, it's not like I eat pork often. I just, for some reason, I was craving a little bit, especially with homemade applesauce. I grew up with pork chops and applesauce, so it just kind of sounded good today. So let me wash my hands, because I do not want to cross-contaminate. Give me one moment, y'all. See right there, just getting underneath my fingernail. All right, cool. So, those are cooking on medium heat, and then I'm gonna turn the music up a little bit because I really want to hear it. That was who do you have next? That was the Four Seasons by Violin Concerto. It was by Antonio Vivaldi. What do I have next? Actually, I think I'm gonna pick one that I really enjoy. Wagner, not so much. He was a little abrasive for me. But here's one. Yeah. Oh. If I listen to this one here and really focus on it, it really touches my soul. Anyway, whew. Okay, back to the cooking. So those are searing on medium. Okay, I'm gonna turn them over real quick. I'm gonna turn them over carefully, but quick. They're cooking nicely. So, you just want to be really gentle with them. I can smell the pear applesauce. Oh, it smells wonderful. Okay. So carefully. I feel like I should be, this beautiful music on in the background. I feel like I should be drinking a glass of port, sipping, not drinking. This music is so soulful in a beautiful classical way, and I feel like I should be sipping a 1949 Spanish port. I did at one time. Actually, I don't think it was a 49, but it was very old. Something like that. Maybe even 30s. This is in my former life. But anyway, okay, so those are going to keep cooking. I'm going to turn them up just a little bit more. More on a medium. And like I said, you don't want to eat pork rare at all, or even medium rare. You don't want it overcooked either. So I'm going to let those sit, and then let's go back to the applesauce. Check that out. You see that? Even with the steam. So I'm going to stir them around, okay? And I'm going to poke them a little bit, just to get a feel for them. So to me, they feel like they're pretty much done. Sorry about the camera angle. Oh, see, I like all kinds of music. I even like a little bit of country. But classical is very beautiful. It's nice meditation music too, believe it or not. All right, so let me do a little taste of the applesauce. It's really hot. That's very delicious, if I may say so myself. So just rinse that off in a little soapy bowl with some water. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my my trusty potato masher. Woohoo! That's hardcore. I think it's like I'm watching The Gladiator or something with the music on in the background. But anyway, and then I'm gonna mash my applesauce. Okay. How appropriate, this music, mashing, raw, getting into the yang of the food, the technique. Woo. So mash away with the muscles to make the pear applesauce. Okay, so you can see how that's coming along. It looks nice. And once again, I like to leave the skin on. Many people don't, but if you don't, you can just peel your apples and pears before you put them in the pot. I keep them on because I feel it's more nutritious. So check that out. Okay, I'm going to turn the heat off now. And then I don't want my applesauce, my pear applesauce real runny and very finely chopped or mashed. So I'm going to just stick this over here for a second, rinse it off. So I did more like a smashed pear applesauce. So check that out. See that? So it's kind of, you would consider it like there, chunky. See, nice and steamy, chunky pear applesauce. All right, so that's gonna sit for a second. Leave that there for a second. I'm gonna come back to these medallions. I'm gonna turn the heat off. Remember, yes, this music, Spartans. Anyway, back to the kitchen. So I turned the pan off, the heat off, because they will continue to cook. Now I'm gonna test them to see if I feel they're done, to my liking and for health purposes. So what am I gonna do? Bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna get an instrument here. Okay, so here I have several pieces of kitchen tools. These little teeny tiny things, can you see that against the white background? Okay. They're called turkey thrusters, and you use them to sew the stuffing in the turkey, you know. I use them as a cooking technique, and so what I do is I take them like this, and I take it, see that long thing right there? And I take a piece of meat and I insert it into the piece of meat like so. See, kind of like that. You spear it a little bit. And I'm going to leave it there for a few seconds because it's testing the heat against the metal. And then, that's about right, then I take it out. Let me show you. I'm going to pull it out. There are two ways to test this. Doneness. This way, yeah, right under the lip. That's good. It's not too hot, searing hot. If it were, I would have screamed. Or I'll show you the other way, and it's not too cool. The metal is what I'm referring to. Or the other way you can test is like this. Right here on your wrist, on the wrist. Okay, so that's good. So to me, that means that this pork, it's not, the metal wasn't too searing hot. It wasn't too cool under the sensitive area right underneath the lip here. Under the lip or on the delicate area of the wrist. And because it wasn't too searing hot, or you would have known if it was, I would have known, I would have screamed. Or if it was too cool, if it's too hot, then it's overcooked. The meat's too hot. If it's too cool, then it's undercooked. It's too rare. So to me, that's more medium, which is fine, which is good. So that's how I test. You can use a meat thermometer, but when you're dealing with meat that's kind of this thin, see that? That thin? A meat thermometer is going to poke right through that. It's better just to use something really small and thin like a turkey thruster. And I keep these in the house. So anyway, let's do this. Let me go back and change the music because I feel like I'm at a circus and this doesn't appeal to me right now. What do I have here? How about this one? Bach? How about some Bach? Yeah, that's precious. Very beautiful. Johann Sebastian Bach. Or Johann Sebastian Bach, whatever. Johann Sebastian Bach. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the meat out. And then I'm gonna just take it out to put it on another plate. So let me turn the camera around. See, I'm getting into the music. Beautiful classical music and beautifully lovely, delicious flavored foods. So I'm just gonna plate this like this, put it aside. And then I'm gonna use the beautiful flavors left over in this pan here, and I'm gonna make a sauce. Remember? Talked about the sauce. And it's just nice. You could eat it just like this. But I, given the opportunity, would like to have a lovely sauce on mine. Alright, so let me just show you what this looks like on the plate here. See? So all I did is I took them and I just lined them on a dinner plate. So I'm going to put those right off to the side. But look at the pan. Do you see right here? It's got a little bit of meat juices and some of the fat. If I remember correctly, in cooking class, that's called fond. So what I'm going to do is, you don't ever want to throw that away. That's so flavorful, totally flavorful. So I'm going to turn the pan on medium again, probably kind of medium high. And as that's heating up, I'm going to take my camera over here. I'm going to get my homemade apple pear sauce, and I'm going to scoop some out of the pan. Remember that? Look at that. It's kind of dark in here, but you'll see. Let me show you here. Here's my little bowl. So I'm just going to turn this on low for a second. And then I'm going to dump this in that pan. So this is my homemade organic apple pear sauce. So instead of just applesauce, it's apple pear. And it's just made with honey and some cinnamon, okay? There it is, right there. Hold on a second. As I rinse it off, because as I have to do the dishes after this, I don't want it to be real hard and sticky in the pan. So there you have it. Beautiful apple pear, still steamy. Homemade organic apple pear sauce. And then here's the pan-seared pork medallions with just a little bit of herbs. So now I'm going to bring a sauce together. As you can see, there's a little bit of oil in that pan still, a little bit of fat. That's good. So let's cut it. Let's cut it with, how about a little bit of applesauce? Or not applesauce, apologies, apple cider vinegar, okay? This is raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. And why am I going to use that to make my sauce? Because it's a meritage, meaning it will blend nicely. An apple cider vinegar sauce cut with a little bit of white wine, organic white wine, and some organic vegetable broth would be nice to make a sauce because it'll blend nicely with the applesauce that I made. Okay, so all I'm going to do is you're going to hear some searing here, some even a bubble in a splatter too, so bear with me. Okay, so there you go, a little bit of that. That's not too bad. I turned the heat down a little bit. Okay, so there's the apple cider vinegar. I've got a bottle of organic white wine, a dry white wine, a Chardonnay. See that? Right there, brothers and sisters. So I'm going to cut it with that as well. Turn the heat up to like medium. Okay, pour, I don't know. How much? I probably put about 3/4 of a cup of apple cider vinegar. I like a lot of sauce. And then I'm going to just throw in, I don't know, that was probably about 2 tablespoons of white wine, Chardonnay. And then I have this organic vegetable broth. So I'm going to shake that up a little bit because that's been in the fridge. Get the ingredients in that all blended up. And then I'm going to do another, I don't know, probably another tablespoon of that. Okay, now what? Well, now what? I'm going to turn the heat up a little higher so we can start blending the flavors. I'm going to add some cracked pepper. Not a whole lot. I'm going to turn the heat up to medium high. Oh, I can smell that apple cider vinegar cooking in the pan. It just took a big whiff up my nose. It's very strong, but nice and strong at the same time. A little bit of ground sea salt. Okay, so some salt and pepper, and then let's keep it in the family here. I'm gonna add some more of the fine organic fine herbs. Remember those fine herbs? Can you see that? Yeah, because I put some on the meat, so may as well add a little bit in the sauce. Once again, it's a nice meritage. It's a nice marriage of the flavors, and just probably just a little sprinkle there. That was a good size sprinkle. And then what am I going to do now? I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to loosen the pieces of the, the little pieces of leftover meat in the bottom of the pan, the fond. I'm going to mix it up. Let's see, here's a little bit of some of the pork blood coagulated. I'm going to get that out. So it's not so chunky of a sauce, and I don't need that. All right, so I added, and I'm gonna let that cook down a little bit. Okay, so I added some raw organic apple cider vinegar, unfiltered, about 3/4 of a cup. I added maybe a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of organic vegetable broth. And based on the bottle, not much at all. Probably 2 tablespoons of white wine, organic white wine. And then I added the cracked pepper and the ground salt and a little bit of the French herbs. which was chives, tarragon, and parsley, okay? And then I'm letting it cook down. See that? It's cooking down a little bit. I'm gonna do a quick stir like this, a quick blend with my trusty whisk. And then I want it a little creamier, this sauce. I can just kind of throw it together and drizzle it over the meat, and that would be nice, but I don't know, I'm feeling something a little thicker and richer and creamier, so I'm just going to add a small amount of organic half and half, like a cream. It'll be a cream sauce. So you know what, I just had a thought. I could have added like a tablespoon of organic half and half, which in moderation is not a big deal. You know, I don't eat a lot of dairy or drink a lot of dairy. Once in a while, it's okay for me. But instead, I'm going to do something totally different. I'm led to add, instead of using the cow milk dairy, I'm going to add a little bit of this plain, rich and creamy goat yogurt to make the sauce. How random was that, right? Oops. Oh, okay, don't freak out at me. There's an apple in there. And the reason why is because earlier I had my snack, and my snack was a little bit of diced apple. So I stuck it in there, see, upside down to save it because I was going to have some later. So that's my secret. And see, that's why I don't edit the shit out of this at all, because you wouldn't know what really happens in my kitchen. That's the kind of stuff I do. And it, look, see, it's like, oh, I'm not going to eat the whole apple. I'm just going to stick it right back in there. I'll eat it later. And then I realized, oh, shit, it's in there, and I'm on a live camera. So anyway, big deal. So I'm going to just add about, I don't know, just a table. That was a big fat teaspoon, okay? And you know what the hell? I'm sticking my apple back where it belongs. It's going to hold it, preserve it, and keep it safe until I need it later. All right, because I had apples and yogurt and a little bit of hemp seed and flax seed. That was my snack. So you can see there's my goat yogurt. Now I'm going to blend it. Ooh, music just got more intense. Nice. And then I'm going to look at that blending up, okay? I might cut it. I'm going to taste it in a minute, but I might cut it with some more stuff again. Maybe some wine, maybe a little bit apple cider. I don't know yet. Maybe some vegetable broth. Let me taste it. But it's looking pretty damn good. And of course, I want to blend it to where I get all the white apple or the yogurt there. The yogurt all blended. See? Look at how beautiful that is. That sauce on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to turn the heat off and just stir it around a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm going to taste it. You got to taste it, y'all. You got to taste your stuff before you plate it. Don't be shy. Stick a little bit like this. Tiny spoon. Smells good. Awesome. Okay. That, to me, that's great. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take a spatula. And then I think I'm going to bring the camera over here so you can watch me plate it as I angle it. Okay, so can you see that? Yeah. There we go. So all I'm going to do is just drizzle it. I'm going to use my spatula to scoop it, scrape it off the sides of the pan and everything. And I'm just going to drizzle it over like this. You probably can't even see. There. Ugh, it's getting heavy. Bear with me. See, I'm just scraping it all out. There's my lovely little sauce. Nothing fancy. And yeah, it's like the grand finale, the music. Okay, hold on. Oh God, that tastes great. Man, I'm such a damn good cook. I love that part about me. I really do. I enjoy the fact that I love to frickin' cook and I'm passionate about it. And I love to share these recipes with you. Wholesome, yummy, tasty, healthy for the most part. Okay, so there's the finished product right there. Pan-seared pork medallions with the homemade deglaze. I just deglazed the pan. With the fat that was in it, I added a few liquids and then some spices. That's how easy it is to make a sauce. And instead of adding cream, I added a little bit of the goat yogurt, so it's a little tart, which is bitchin' because so's the apple cider vinegar, which is bitchin' because the pear applesauce is a little sweet. So we got a great combination of tart, savory, and sweet. So, what do? We plate. So what I'm gonna do is, let's see. I'm gonna take some like this. A few pieces here with that yummy sauce I just made. I'm gonna stick them on this little plate. I'll come back to these later when I'm off camera. And then I'm gonna grab my homemade applesauce here. It's delicious applesauce. And I'm gonna top it like this. I'll stir it up because it sat for a moment. And I'm gonna put it right across the top like that. Okay? And then, you know the rules, everybody. When you're in the kitchen with Patricia, holistic health practitioner, corrective exercise specialist, energy medicine healer, lover of all things tasty and delicious, I gotta taste it. You gotta observe, witness. Let me see, the lighting sucks in here at this hour, so let me move the camera over. Oh, hello, ants. We got a few ants rocking and rolling around here. Try not to get them in the food. Let's see. Oops, sorry. Okay, actually, you know what? I'm gonna bring it back over here. There's more light. I'll be right back. I have to grab my knife and fork. All right, napkin, knife, and fork, right there. I'm gonna cut it first. Actually, I'm gonna bless it. Ah, Heavenly Father, Blessed Mother, great benevolent Spirit of the universe, thank you for this beautiful, beautiful meal. Thank you, animal spirits, for sacrificing your life so that I can thrive for the greater good of all. Thank you, everybody that brought it to my table. And then I'm gonna cut a little piece off here. Okay, so look at that. That's actually perfectly cooked. See, it's a little light pink. It's not bloody. It's not real white. If it were real white, it would be really overcooked. There's a little light pink hue. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the applesauce on top, like so. Actually, I grabbed it with my wrong hand. And I'm going to taste it. Here we have it. Mm-hmm. Well, what can I say other than I feel it's delicious? So there you have it. Pan-seared, pasture-raised pork medallions with organic pear and applesauce, homemade, with the homemade sauce. Yeah, if you like these videos, please share them. Stay tuned for more. Patricia, until we meet again, Patricia here signing off. Thank you for joining me. Adios, amigos and amigas.